All right, so you're planning on purchasing a home in 2024, or you don't know if it's a great opportunity for you to purchase a home in 2024, and you're trying to figure out what's right for you and your family. You're really trying to figure out, is this going to be a good investment this year, or am I going to be making a mistake? So we're going to go over 5 things, and please excuse my attire. It's really cold in the office, so yeah, let's get on to the video. Here are the 5 things that we're going to be going over. Interest rates, because it's a trigger word, and I want to make sure that I'm capturing as many people as possible. You don't know how to, so that's more of an education thing. You didn't budget well, kind of an education thing, but it's also kind of a discipline thing as well. And going over knowing what you want, so figuring that out as well. So if you don't know that, might not be a good idea, and the market might not work out. So let's get into it. I did a live on Instagram, and I'm going to be kind of putting a lot of the information that I talked about in that live in this video, so we can kind of marry it together. But let's go into our first point, interest rates. Now, interest rates are projected to get lowered up to 6 times in 2024. It might not be a significant change in interest rates. It might be a 0.001% change in interest rates. It may not affect you. It may be a situation where we're going to see maybe a 0.25% total decrease this year. A lot of agents are going to be talking about, hey, in 2024, we're seeing a lot of interest rates going down. We're projected to go down. It may be true. It may not be. I wouldn't say bank on it. I would say focus on what you can control, and which is your finances, and making sure that you have a direct plan as to what's going to happen for you and your family. Now, how are you going to get to that home purchase? If you need to sell a property in order to purchase a new property, how are you going to work with your real estate agent to make sure that those things happen very, very well? We've built a system in our back end to make sure that we have that locked in. We have it as a tried and true process for our clients, because a lot of our clients are actually military, and a lot of those things need to happen very, very quickly. So we needed to be very, very good at what we were doing. So with that, we got that process down.
You need to take the market for what it is. And when it comes to interest rates, they go up, they go down. Prices, they go up or they go down. But historically, prices do go up and interest rates stay kind of within the same range. Now, we're in a crazy time right now, and interest rates basically doubled in 2022. But now we're in a situation where it's kind of weaned off, and we're kind of staying stable with the interest rates. And prices have gone down, kind of leveling things out.
Second point being is you don't know where to start. You don't know what step 1 really is. And I think that before getting in with a real estate agent, I think it's really important for you to get a really great loan officer. Now, the benefit of picking and choosing your loan officer is that it's not really going to hurt your credit. Now, when you pull credit the first time, when you apply for a pre-approval with a specific bank, you have a specific time frame to really shop around with different banks to figure out who's got the better rates, who has the better service, and who's going to be giving me a very knowledgeable loan officer that is ready to solve my problems. If you're a veteran, for example, a lot of loan officers aren't really educated on the VA loan process. There are extra steps in the process, and for some people, it's a little bit too difficult. So loan officers try to lean away from it because there's an education issue. So I would say get very familiar with the process to figure out, hey, what am I going to be charged? What should I expect to pay monthly? What should I expect to pay up front? Get a strategy down with your realtor and your loan officer, and make sure that you have the full picture behind you before you go onto the market. Because I've been in situations personally, I've made the mistake of going out and not having a plan with the client, and they expected a home that was a 5-bedroom, massive house, and what they would really be more comfortable with is just a condo, a townhome. Now, they had this high expectation, and the reality was it was a townhome condo. I've made that mistake, and it's not an easy one to get over. Eventually, that client did get into that bigger, better home, but it was a situation where we needed to take an extra step. So get that plan together with your real estate agent and your loan officer to make sure that everything is good. Now, this next part is going into budgeting, and that goes into the plan as well. I've had clients that have reached out to me and they purchased 2 years after that initial contact, but we had a plan in place. They had a plan in place. We figured out, okay, if you want to purchase this type of property, this is what you need to do in order to get to that point. And they did that. They followed all of the steps and they made sure that they saved their money. They made sure that their credit was great and that they had a clear path to what home that they were trying to get. They understood that it wasn't going to be a dream home. They understood, I mean, we're in Southern California. Most first-time homeowners are going to be purchasing that townhome condo and upgrade into that single-family home. It's just part of the market here. It's part of the expenses, and they will be able to purchase that bigger, better home as they build equity over time. And they're also saving money. So having a budget in place is going to be extremely important for you and your family, and making sure that you know what's going out of your pocket, what's coming into your pocket, and staying consistent with it.
Like if a family came up to me and said, "Hey, I want a 4-bedroom house that's going to build some equity over time. We already have a house that we're looking to sell, and we need to upgrade into a 4-bedroom. We want to be in a nice area with great schools, and we want to be in San Fernando." That's when we're going to reel back. I'm like, okay, look, there are properties like that in San Fernando. They're not going to have the schools, and they're not going to really grow in equity because of where it is. I suggest probably going into Santa Clarita because the schools are great. You're going to build the equity because they're building a lot out here. There's a lot more infrastructure out here, to positive infrastructure out here, and positive economy out here in order for you to capitalize on more equity. Let me show you why, and show the numbers as to the equity growth on certain properties. And it's like, it's not my word, it's the facts. Like I am presenting the facts in a specific manner, yes, but I'm going based off of fact.
A lot of people think that they know what they want, but truly they haven't looked at all of the factors to figure out what it is that they really want out of a home. A lot of people think that, hey, I'm just going to buy a house, live in it for a little bit, and then maybe buy something else in a different area, something like that. The thing is, you want to kind of clock this in. People tend to stay in their homes like 6 to 8 years, depending on the type of home that it is. But let's say your plan is to move into a bigger, better home. Are you going into a neighborhood that is going to be able to facilitate that? I had a client, or I had somebody reach out to me who purchased with somebody else, but he purchased in a neighborhood that wasn't growing, and his plan was to really invest in real estate, not really buy a home to live in. He wanted to rent that out eventually. Didn't realize that that area was not really great for renting, and now he might be out of a lot of money because he needs to sell that property. So you need to really pay attention to what the end goal really is, and if that property is not the end goal, is figuring out how can I make this home the path to that end goal. So figuring out what the timeline is for that home, what the intent is for that property, and figuring out how you can get from that property to the next one, or how you can make sure that that one's going to be able to be a rentable property. Am I going to be able to grow my equity? Am I going to be able to make returns on this? Trying to go over all of the information. Again, someone who is good at what they do, a real estate agent, loan officer, they're going to be able to work those numbers out for you to make sure that it's something that makes sense. Okay, let's bring it in nice and close because I have to talk to you directly about this specific part. You got to pay attention to this. The market might not work out. Okay, that's something a lot of realtors aren't really confident in saying, but the reality is we don't know what's going to happen in the future, and things might not work out. Your market specifically might not work out. You need to start paying attention to more things aside from, hey, this is where I want to live. If this is going to be something that's going to be an investment, if it's just a home that you want to live in for a very long time, by all means, if that's the neighborhood you want to be in, let's go for it. But if this is something that you want to eventually make into something that's going to be better for you in the future, there's a lot of factors that you need to start paying attention to, from macro to micro. You got to look at the state, you got to look at the city, you have to look at the county, you have to look at the neighborhood, the community, the street that you're on. You have to look at all these factors and really pay attention to, hey, is this going to be something that's going to be advantageous for me and my family down the line? Is this going to allow me to be able to sell for more money and be able to purchase that bigger, better home if that's what you're looking for, or in a different neighborhood, whatever it may be. You need to start paying attention to all these factors so that you can actually eventually do that, because not all homes are built the same, not all communities are built the same, and it's all with the people that actually go into these communities. So I think a great agent who knows the communities that you're going into, or has the ability to learn about the specific neighborhoods that you're going into, that's going to be your advantage. This agent doesn't need to necessarily live in your neighborhood, because there's ways to find out those little nuances about the neighborhood. And sometimes the agent that lives in the neighborhood isn't the perfect agent for the job. You need to start paying attention to the quality of agent that you have as well. Are they doing a lot of business, or are they just blowing smoke? There's a lot of things that you need to pay attention to when it comes down to it. You need to have somebody that's honest with you. So hopefully that clarifies a lot of things for you guys. If you want to learn more about the homes out here in Santa Clarita, you want to see what the homes look like in Santa Clarita, I have all my home tours right here. And if you want to look at things to do in Santa Clarita, maybe pros and cons, take a look at this playlist right here. Hopefully it'll help you out.